Let's start with prayer.
Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society, good of all human lives upon it, and the just government of its people. We beseech you to look with your abundant favor upon us, your servants, whom you have entrusted with the performance of such important trust in this community. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our attention and deliberation in a so just and faithful manner, as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this region and of those whose interests you have committed to us. Amen. Mention of allegiance to the treaty as a member of the assembly. Rule 5, sub-rule 5 specifically states that when a member first attends to take his or her seat, other than at the first sitting of a new house, he or she shall be brought to the table by two members and presented by them to the speaker, who shall then administer the oath or affirmation of allegiance to him or her. I therefore request two members who know Honorable Rebecca Miano to bring her to the table and present her before me to enable me administer the oath of allegiance. You don't want to welcome the minister?
I, Rebecca Miano, do swear that I will give true and faithful service to this assembly, and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the East African community, and will preserve, protect, and defend the treaty for the establishment of the East African community as by law established. So help me God.
What's the speaker? Go and sign your oath. I've just handed over the certificate to the minister, but as you know, in her new role, she will need two important instruments that we use in this house. And those are the treaty for the establishment of the East African Community and the East African Legislative Assembly Rules of Procedure. So I wish to hand to you, Honorable Minister, the copies of these two instruments that you will need in your daily endeavors. Honorable members, I welcome a new member of the House, the ex-officio member of the Assembly, So, Honorable Rebecca, congratulations. There is another senior Rebecca in this house who I believe will be joining us soon. Honorable members, Mrs. Rebecca Miano has been the managing director and the CEO of Kenya Electricity Generating Company, a position she has held since October 2017. She's a Kenyan lawyer by profession, just like me. She has had 30 years multifaceted career in the energy sector and is a recognized continental business leader focused on running KenGen as a sustainable entity. She's an energy expert specializing in renewable energy, structuring international and regional multi-million business deals, international regulatory framework on sustainability development and climate change, policy development, corporate governance, and business law. She founded the Noble Pink Energy Forum to address gender parity issues within KenGen. She has since advanced the Pink Energy Agenda to a sectoral platform to enjoin the other state agencies within the Ministry of Energy. Mrs. Miano is focused on growing KenGen's footprint in geothermal development across the African continent, and she has successfully implemented several large geothermal projects in the continent. She's a board member of Global Compact Network Kenya, as well as a member of the World Bank Group's Advisory Council on Gender and Development. She was named among the top 100 women CEOs in Africa by Research Global People in partnership with Pulse and Advance Media twice in a row. Further, she was named as one of the top 25 movers and shakers in Africa in 2021 by the African Energy Chamber, in addition to being listed among the 50 most senior women in corporate Africa by the Africa.com definitive list of women CEOs in the same year. She's a member of COP's 26 business leaders to support COP's 26 presidency effort to achieve significant progress in the lead up to and at COP 27. In June 2021, KenGen became Kenya's first public service company to join the Race to Zero campaign in June 2021 via Business Ambition 1.5 degrees. In October 2021, KenGen was given the honorary recognition in the 2021 East African Regional Climate Action Awards, courtesy of IGAD Climate Prediction and the Applications Center, ICPAC, which seeks to showcase successful solutions that can accelerate the transition to low carbon economies in East Africa. Mrs. Miano has earned 2 presidential decorations and awards, Grand Warrior of Kenya and Moran of the Burning Order Spear. So she's an MBS. in recognition of her outstanding service to the Republic of Kenya. Those are very incredible accomplishments, Honorable Minister, and the House is pleased to have a quality member in you, and we are looking forward to working with you and benefiting immensely from your experience. It doesn't seem you have been in politics a lot, but the fact you excelled in business, you will also excel in politics. Congratulations. Normally, honorable members, you know that when we have a new member, we grant an opportunity for him or her to make a maiden speech before we go into other business. So, Honorable Minister, you can say a word to the House.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my colleagues, EAC Council members, the EAC, sorry. Mr. Speaker, sir, my colleagues, EAC Council members, the EAC Secretary General, honorable members of the East African Legislative Assembly, Mr. Speaker, let me begin by thanking you for granting me this opportunity to make my maiden speech in this August House, no more than 5 days since I assumed my current position. I would like to take this early opportunity equally to sincerely thank the government and the great people of the Republic of Rwanda for the hospitality and warm reception I have received since arrival in the beautiful city of Kigali. I feel completely at home. Mr. Speaker, sir, as you're aware, I join you in this House today following the constitution of a new government in Kenya, after successful and peaceful general elections in August 2022. I wish, therefore, in this regard, to first express my profound gratitude to the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, for entrusting me with this noble responsibility. Secondly, I would like to convey farewell and best wishes to my successor, Honorable Betty Maina, who confirmed to me that you enjoyed cordial working relations. In particular, she assured me that you parted ways on good terms because as Kenya handed over chair of the community, she and her colleague council members were able to finally make very critical decisions on matters of members' welfare. She didn't tell me which one. Mr. Speaker, sir.
It was welfare anyway.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I do recognize that I am joining the Assembly at the tail end of the term of the Fourth Assembly. I may therefore not have the opportunity to interact with most members for long before the end of your tenure. Nonetheless, I wish to acknowledge the resilience of the Fourth Assembly in the face of the very challenging regional and global environment. It was not long after the beginning of your term in 2018 before the outbreak of the global COVID-19 pandemic. However, I am informed that Eala was among the institutions who early on, in the face of this global adversity, responded innovatively to the challenges that confronted our traditional working modalities as a result. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am aware that the widening and deepening of the areas of EAC cooperation has increased demands on the Regional Assembly to undertake enhanced oversight, representation, and legislation. Unfortunately, the financing of the community's activities, including budgetary allocation to the Assembly in particular, has remained either constant or decreased in some instances. Indeed, His Excellency President Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, in his address to this assembly during the special sitting yesterday, clearly articulated this concern. I am informed, however, that the Council is currently considering, among others, alternative sustainable financing options that should largely address this concern. Mr. Speaker, sir, I mentioned this matter of financing being aware that the global economic outlook is unlikely to change significantly for the better, especially in the short term. This prediction is against the backdrop of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war and the grave impact of climate change, which is already seriously affecting some of our EAC partner states in the form of drought and the attendant famine. EAC regional integration in particular, and African continental integration in general, is our future insurance if we are to be respected and to have a voice in global matters. Indeed, as an EAC bloc, together we are stronger from the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. The demonstration of our strength is in our mantra of one people with a common destiny. Eala, as the prime political organ of the community, must reflect that aspiration as an expression of the political will of the East African people. Mr. Speaker, I am very proud to be joining members with wide experience and expertise in various professions, past members of their National Assembly's executive branch in the national government, or even representing various segments of the society, such as youth, political parties, civil society, and business, among others. Indeed, among the council members who are ex-official members of this assembly, the knowledge and expertise on matters EAC integration could not be better. I am looking forward to a very vibrant and active council that will be taking the community to the next level with the support of East Africa Legislative Assembly. I bring Kenya's commitment to integration, and I wish all those that are being elected every success, and I thank you. Honorable Speaker, sir, and honorable members.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that impressive maiden speech. And of course, I know among the people that are excited to have you around here are members of Eala Women Caucus. Thank you, honorable members.
Item number 2 on the order paper, communication from the chair.
Thank you, honorable members. I'm happy to be here with you again after a very successful special sitting yesterday and the cocktail dinner that we had organized by Rwanda chapter. I want to thank Honorable Odaga Sinzigwa and members of Rwanda chapter for organizing that. Before we proceed, I wish to introduce to you some of the visitors we have today in the gallery. And these include a delegation from Parliamentary Forum on EAC Affairs, Parliament of Uganda. These are Honorable Aogon Silas, Member of Parliament. If you can stand up for recognition. Are they already here? PEACA team? Then, if they are not yet here, I can introduce them at a later point. But we also, I will be alerted when they walk in. But we are also joined by a delegation of representatives of various civil society organizations who are here to grace the debate we shall have on EAC Surveillance, Compliance, Enforcement Commission Bill 2022, which we shall handle today. I will quickly go through the list. The guests we have are Edwin Birech from Kenya. He represents Transparency International Kenya. There is also Brenda Osoro from East African Tax and Governance Network, Kenya. Celine Awor from the International Institute for Legislative Affairs, Kenya. Diana Mochoge from Afrodad, Kenya. Mercy Chepto Korir from Afrodad, Kenya. Nicholas Lekule from Policy Forum, Tanzania. Ranga Chikova from Pan-African Lawyers Union, based in Tanzania. Cyrus Musi from Governance for Africa, Rwanda. David Butera, Governance for Africa, Rwanda. Isabel Gatete, Governance for Africa, Rwanda. Imakire Birere, CEDD, Rwanda. Enoch Twinoburyo, Private Sector, Rwanda. Prime Nhezumukama from Dukingire Isiachu. He's a director, the executive director of this organization from Burundi. Henry Bazira from Water Governance Institute in Uganda. Richard Obed from Populous Foundation International, Uganda. Joseph Olwenyi from Oxfam, Uganda. Hilda Tumuhe from Uganda Debt Network. Catherine Nakarinzi from Youth for Tax Justice Network, Africa. Herbert Kafero from Seatini, Uganda. Penny Nambabazi from Seatini, Uganda. Grace Namugambe from Seatini, Uganda. Regina Navuga from Seatini, Uganda. Rogers Tumusange from Seatini, Uganda. Chris Nkwatsimbwe from NGO Forum, Uganda. Mark Mutumba from Oxfam, Uganda. Robert Isuna from Femnet, Uganda. Can you stand up for recognition, all of you? So, honorable members, these are very serious East Africans, heads of these organizations, senior officials of these organizations that I've spoken about, who are here to witness our debate on this bill. This communicates the interest that the East African people have on this business of the House and on our journey to integration. So we thank you very much for your presence today. We believe you were consulted during our public hearing stage, but if by any mistake we didn't consult any of you, we are happy you are here. You will be part of this debate, even if you will not be contributing to it, but we can still interact with us before we make our decisions. Thank you very much, and we thank you for your presence.
Item number 3 on the order paper, laying of papers.
Chairperson, Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I wish to lay on the table the report of the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges on the East African Community Surveillance, Compliance and Enforcement Commission Bill 2022. I beg to lay.
Item number 4, the East African Community Surveillance, Compliance and Enforcement Commission Bill 2022 for second reading.
Honorable Chair, Council of Ministers, or any council member standing in for the council chair.
Mr. Speaker, I'm standing for the council chair. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the East African Community Surveillance, Compliance and Enforcement Bill 2022 be read for the second time, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, Professor Nshuti. Seconders? Yes, Honorable Ambassador Fatuma, Honorable CTC, Honorable Minister Rebecca Miano, Honorable Dr. Ward and all members standing. Honorable Minister, you need to make a justification or you can proceed to move a motion.
Honorable Speaker, sir, in 2013, when member states adopted a protocol on establishment of East African Community Monetary Union, the partner states undertook in Article 21 of the protocol to establish some specific institutions to support the monetary union. The institution responsible for surveillance, compliance, and enforcement was agreed to be established in this regard, together with the Monetary Institute and the Statistics Bureau, whose bill this assembly has already passed. The protocol provides for two critical aspects relating to the establishment of the monetary union, namely, one, prerequisites for monetary union, including harmonization and coordination of fiscal policies, harmonization of payment in settlement systems, in harmonization and coordination of the monetary and exchange policies. And number two, a macroeconomic convergence criteria to be attained and maintained by partner states for the purpose of the monetary union. Honorable Speaker, sir, and honorable members, the Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission is the institution that's going to assist the community to monitor and appropriately report to the Council, indicating whether in which partner states have met the prerequisites and have attained or maintained the macroeconomic convergence criteria that's provided for this protocol. The Council is very grateful for the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges for fast-tracking the consideration of the bill so that the community can implement the protocol on the establishment of the monetary union. I beg to submit, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Just a moment. Thank you. Honorable members, I now propose the motion that the East African Community I now propose the question that the East African Community Surveillance, Compliance and Enforcement Commission Bill 2022 be ready for the second time. I now call upon the chairperson of the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges to present the report.
So I can use that.
I think you can use the podium here. Members, do you have copies of the report? And the staff can also distribute copies to the visitors if you have enough.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members and stakeholders present. I wish to present the report of the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges on the East African Compliance and the East African Surveillance, Compliance and Enforcement Commission Bill 2022. In accordance with paragraph 2 of Article 5 of the Treaty for the Establishment of the East African Community, partner states undertake to establish among themselves and in accordance with the provisions of the treaty, a customs union, a common market, a monetary union, and ultimately a political federation in order to strengthen and regulate the industrial, commercial, infrastructure, cultural, socio-political, and relations of partner states to the end that there shall be accelerated, harmonious and balanced development and sustained expansion of economic activities, the benefits which shall be equitably shared. On the 30th of November 2013, partner states concluded the protocol on the establishment of the East African Community Monetary Union. Article 21 and 23 of the protocol empowers the summit on the recommendation of the summit to establish the following institutions to support the monetary union. institutions responsible for financial services, institutions responsible for surveillance, compliance, and enforcement, institutions responsible for statistics, and any other institution necessary for proper functioning of the Monetary Union and the East Africa Monetary Institute. In accordance with Article 14.3 of the treaty, the Council submitted to the Assembly the East African Community Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission Bill 2022. The main objective of the bill is to establish the East African Community Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission. The bill was read for the first time on 1st of March 2022 and referred to the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges for consideration. The methodology employed by the committee. In undertaking this activity, the committee adopted the following methodology. It conducted an interactive meeting with the EAC Secretariat. It also conducted public hearing in all the East African partner states with the exception of the Democratic Republic of Congo. It also reviewed the existing legal frameworks, including the treaty, the protocols, and laws of the community. Engagement with stakeholders. The committee used the interactive meeting with the EAC Secretariat and the public hearing to engage with key stakeholders representing government ministries and institutions which are responsible for the implementation of the bill, as well as interested private sector organizations. The committee received and considered all observations and comments received from stakeholders and consequently prepared the proposed schedule of amendments attached to this report as Annex 1. The list of stakeholders is also attached as Annex 2. Observation of the committee. The East African Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission Bill 2022. The object of the bill is to provide for the establishment of the East African Community Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission pursuant to Article 21B of the protocol, to provide for the functions, powers, and governance structure for the commission, and also to provide for related matters. The bill is divided into 7 parts with a total of 30 clauses. The parts of the bills are 1, preliminary provisions, 2, the East African Community Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission, 3, governance of the commission, 4, microeconomic policy surveillance, 5, compliance and enforcement, 6, financial provision, 7, miscellaneous provisions. The importance and the agency of the Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission. The importance and agency of establishing the Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission are provided by paragraph 1, 2, and 5 of Article 5 of the protocol. Paragraph 1 states that for the purpose of realizing the monetary union, the partner states shall fully implement the protocol establishing the East African Community Customs Union and the protocol establishing the East African Community Common Market. B, harmonize and coordinate their fiscal policies. C, harmonize and coordinate their monetary and exchange rate policies. D, adopt common principles and rules for payment and settlement. E, harmonize their payment and settlement systems. F, harmonize their policies and laws relating to the production, analysis, and dissemination of statistical information. G, introduce bans and gradually fix their bilateral exchange rates to facilitate the conversion of currencies of the partner states to the East African currency unit. And H, integrate their financial system and adopt common principles and rules for the regulation and supervision of the financial system. Likewise, Article 5.2 provides for the purpose of realizing the monetary union, and each partner state is required A, to phase out any outstanding national central bank lending to its government and public entities, and B, to attain the microeconomic convergence criteria specified in Article 6.2 and maintain the criteria for at least 3 consecutive years. The 2 paragraphs quoted above sets the prerequisite for the establishment of the EAC Monetary Union. In order to ensure that the requirements provided by the 2 paragraphs above are attained, Article 5.5 of the protocol empowers the Commission to make recommendation to the Council on whether a partner state meets the requirement to join the Monetary Union. Specifically, paragraph 5 of Article 5 of the protocol provides that The council shall, on the recommendation of the institution responsible for surveillance, compliance, and enforcement to be established in accordance with Article 21, determine whether a partner state meets the requirement to join the monetary union provided under paragraph 1 and 2. It is obvious that the Commission is a critical institution in determining the establishment of the monetary union. According to the roadmap adopted by the Council for the establishment of the ESC monetary union, this commission was supposed to be established by 2018. The establishment of this commission in 2018 intended to facilitate the establishment of the monetary union by 2024. Functions of the Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission. Article 5.5 of the protocol empowers the Commission to make recommendation to the Council on the attainment of the prerequisites for the monetary union as provided by Article 5.1 and 2 of the protocol. Article 5 provides as follows. The council shall, on the recommendation of the institution responsible for surveillance, compliance, and enforcement to be established in accordance with Article 21, determine whether a partner state meets the requirement of paragraph 1 and 2. However, the committee observed that the function of the commission shall by the bill put more emphasis on the microeconomic convergence criteria provided under Article 5.2, leaving out the prerequisite provided by Article 5.1. We are expecting that the council will consider this observation and take the necessary action in future. Benefits of the monetary union. There are a number of benefits for an economic region to establish a monetary union. Some of the benefits of monetary union for EAC are reduced transaction cost, leading to an increased trade and deeper financial integration. Elimination of intra-union exchange risk in trade and investment. The promotion of the EAC single market and establishment and use of a common currency. And lastly, the common monetary policy throughout the ESC. Financing of the commission. The committee observed that the commission will be financed by the current system of financing the ESC accordance with Article 132 of the treaty. The current system of financing and the organs and institutions of the community as provided for by Article 132 of the treaty is not sustainable. Therefore, an alternative financing mechanism is urgently needed for the sustainable financing and activities of the community, including the establishment of new institutions. The committee noted with concern that the delay by the council to conclude the alternative financing mechanism as it was directed by the council, directed by the summit, is wanting. Enforcement of sanctions proposed by the bill. Clause 22(2) of the bill empowers the summit on recommendation of the council to impose sanctions on a partner state for failure to take corrective measures directed by the council. The committee recalled that Article 143 of the treaty empowers the council to propose sanctions to the summit when a partner state defaults to meet its financial and other obligations under the treaty. The committee also noted that the EAC Secretariat submitted to partner states for comment the proposed schedule of sanctions and procedure for investigation of breaches to the treaty. The matter is a distinct item on the agenda of the 43rd meeting of the council. It is in the expectation of stakeholders that the 43rd meeting of the council will consider and adopt the proposed framework on the investigation and breaches, amendments to the rules of procedures of the policy organ, and schedules of sanctions. Quorum and decision-making of the commission. The bill provides that the quorum for meeting of the commission shall be all members of the board. It also requires that the decision of the board and the commission shall be by consensus. Many stakeholders were of the view that the requirement for quorum and consensus will delay the function of the commission and the establishment of the monetary union. The committee noted that the requirement of all members to form a quorum and consensus in decision-making is a requirement of the treaty. Therefore, deviating from the current provision will require amendment to the treaty. The tenure of the executive secretary of the commission. The committee noted that the tenure of the service for the executive secretary of the commission will, like for all other heads of EAC institution, is limited to 5 years without the possibility of renewal. The committee received concern from stakeholders that the 5-year tenure is too short for a head of institution to provide their fully and committed service to the community. The council is requested to reconsider this matter and taking into account the need to have stable institutions of the community. Recommendations of the committee. After considering the importance and the agency of establishing the East African Community Surveillance Compliance and Enforcement Commission, the committee makes the following recommendation to the Assembly. 1, to debate and pass the bill with the proposed amendments prepared by the committee. 2, urge the council to consider all observations made by the committee on this report and address them throughout an amendment. Urge the council to reconsider the tenure of the service of the heads of institutions of the ESC. Urge the council to urgently finalize the alternative financing mechanism of the community as it was directed by the summit. 6, urge the council to fast track the operationalization of all institutions intended to support the monetary union as provided for by Article 21 and 23 of the protocol. Appreciation. This report being the last for the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges for the 4th Assembly, the committee would like to extend its appreciation to the Right Honorable Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly for the support given to the committee throughout the life of the 4th Assembly. We also wish to thank all members of the Assembly for their continued support to the work of this committee. We recognize that all members who served as committee members, especially those who served this committee for the entire period that they have been members of the 4th Eala. Likewise, the committee wishes to express its appreciation to the Clerk of the Assembly, Mr. Alex Obache Lumumba, and the entire management and the office of the clerk for facilitating the activities of this committee. We also wish to recognize the officers who were assigned to facilitate activities of this committee for their dedicated service. And these officers are 1, the committee clerk, Mr. Asher Wimile, the principal legal draftsperson, Mr. Dennis Chibirige, the committee secretary, Mrs. Elizabeth Gitonga, the committee assistant, Ms. Mary Grote Kenda and Ms. Joyce Oli for their dedicated service to this committee. We sincerely appreciate your service, and Right Honorable Speaker, take this from the committee that your leadership in this assembly is recognized by this committee. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Please switch off the microphone. Thank you very much, Honorable Kennedy Mkuria. Honorable members, the motion before the House is that the East African Community Surveillance, Compliance, and the Enforcement Commission Bill 2022 be read for the second time. Debate is open. Honorable Abdikadir, Honorable Ambassador Fatuma, Honorable Claude, Honorable Kalonzo. Then I will come to the Honorable Mary, Honorable Rose, Honorable Dr. Makame. I will pick another list after.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to this very important report. And indeed, the second reading of this very strategic bill for the East African community. But before I go into the depth of my debate, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to congratulate the newest member of the Eala, the Honorable Rebecca Miano, the Cabinet Secretary for East African Community and Regional and ASAL Areas Development. I think the name of the ministry is a bit longer than that. Honorable Speaker, as a Kenyan and a person who has known Honorable Rebecca before this day, can assure you and assure the East African community that a very resourceful member has come on board our council and this assembly. And indeed, as the head of KenGen, because many of you might not know what KenGen is, but KenGen is the energy generating agency in Kenya. They own every electricity that is generated in Kenya. Then they pass it on to the one that you know that distributes and does the distribution, the Kenya Power. That's the one that probably you got, many people will know. Honorable Speaker, Madam Rebecca was known to be a transformist who has transformed our energy sector and a true believer on the green energy. And in her tenure as the head of KenGen, Kenya has seen significant growth in terms of going into the renewable energy and moving away from the fossil fuel energy and becoming and making the KenGen as one of the most effective, highly reliable, and with the least disruption to power supply in Kenya, and thereby allowing the growth of industries and many other developments in our country. Because of her efforts, Mr. Speaker, the Kenyans in the rural sector now enjoy electricity that courtesy of the generation of the company that she headed, and to an extent never experienced in Kenya before. Other than that, she is known as one of our very serious lawyers in Kenya, and a highly decorated lawyer for that matter. And with her agenda of the pink energy, she has championed a lot, in a great deal, the issue of gender and the involvement and the rights to energy in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I just wish to say that I feel greatly honored to serve with Madam Rebecca Miano in this fourth assembly as a member of our council, and I look forward with her joining to see a vibrant and efficiently working council. Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa Waziri. Honorable Speaker, moving from there, I feel very encouraged to see as on the onset of this bill, that the great number of civil society that has taken interest to join us today in this debate. Mr. Speaker, time and again, this House has called for the people of East Africa to come forward and join in the legislative process of this particular assembly. Mr. Speaker, when you read the people who are sitting behind us in the gallery, I feel highly encouraged that because the monetary union as a protocol is a very emotive issue. It means that as a Kenyan, I must be in the very near future, be prepared to put aside my Kenya shilling and now accept the East African community shilling, or whatever currency that we will call it. Or the same for Tanzanians, the same for Ugandans, and the same for all the other partner states. It is very important when members of the civil society are here with us, because just like we represent the people of East Africa, they too represent the views of a very large majority of our citizens in our various countries. Mr. Speaker, I think it is very, very important that they have joined us, and I feel highly encouraged by their involvement in this process. Mr. Speaker, the monetary union is an issue that we have spoken a lot in this House. I remember as chair of the General Purpose Committee, my committee and I were privileged to pass the first bill, the establishment of the Monetary Institute back in Dodoma in the year, I believe was 2018, that we passed that. And these other institutions are now critical to the formation of the single currency of the East African community. Compliance is critical, Mr. Speaker, and this is one of the challenges that the European Union, when they were forming or when they were coming together to do the euro, one of the biggest challenges they had to overcome was the issue of compliance, Mr. Speaker. Countries now ensuring that they comply fully to the monetary union. Great benefits have been mentioned. I will not repeat much about them, but Honorable Speaker, trade will be much easier and less costly for the people of East Africa. And the main establishment and the reason why the East African community has been formed is because of trade and its benefits there too. And this particular monetary union will make it easy. A farmer in Tanzania who now wants to sell to Kenya or vice versa is now required to move in his investment or her investment from the Tanzanian shillings, take it over to the Kenyan market, probably receive Kenya shillings from their sales, convert it probably into dollars and bring it back into Tanzania and then back into the Tanzanian shillings. This makes trade very costly. Having a single currency, Mr. Speaker, is going to make trade a lot more cheaper. We are now, and I'm glad that an expert now has joined the council, Tanzania is now producing one of probably East Africa's largest energy generating dam very soon. And I've seen, you know, the way leaf is already being laid between Nairobi and Kenya and Tanzania. And I time and again ask myself, so when Tanzania produces, a member of the East African community, produces this energy and is now selling it to its partner states of the EAC, it's going to bill them in which currency? It's going to bill them probably in US dollars. Kenya will have to convert its Kenya shillings into US dollars. Same for the trader. It is going to be again having to be converted to Tanzania shillings. And that makes it the whole process very costly, and electricity that would have otherwise been cheap might suffer the transactional cost and the foreign currency costs and make it more and more expensive. Investments are the same, Mr. Speaker, and elimination of risk, because there's a lot of risk when you move between currencies. Currencies do move positions, and sometimes the entire profit of this particular investor or trader can easily be able to be wiped out as a result of the risk of the currency being changed. We need to move fast, Mr. Speaker, in enacting all the laws that regards to the monetary union. As I end, I want to say, I've seen the committee recommending that the quorum issue and the consensus issue be maintained in accordance to the treaty. I can't see them doing anything else in terms of recommendation, but I hoped to see the chair being critic about this particular issue. Time and again, the EAC is unable to move at the pace that it's supposed to move to, because you are told all the countries must sit around the table and everyone must be around and everyone must say yes. That's what the consensus means. Mr. Speaker, this consensus issue was put into our treaty when there were only 3 partner states in the EAC: Kenya, Tanzania, URT, and Uganda. Mr. Speaker, now that we are growing to the 7th member, now that we're about to engage serious issues like discussions of monetary union, we are likely to face a lot of challenges with the consensus issue. I have always been, and I have always recommended to the members of the council, please move us away from this issue of consensus. If we are 7 of us and the majority 4 have agreed in favor of that particular view or that particular recommendation, let us move with that. This is how the world is making its decisions all over. This is how boards, this is how the European Union is making its decisions. Mr. Speaker, I wish to end it there, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abdikadir. Ambassador Fatuma.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. At the outset, I would also like to add my voice and congratulate Honorable Rebecca Miano, the Minister of the Republic of Kenya in charge of East African Community, for joining the Council. Welcome, Honorable. But at the same time, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Republic of Kenya for peaceful and successful elections. East African Community, and in particular, the Committee of Regional Affairs, we were part of the process of observation, and you made us proud. But we are also happy that His Excellency, the President, appointed a lady to be the minister, taking over from another great lady. So we are proud of you and welcome because as the Right Honorable Speaker said, we have the Eala Women Caucus. So our ministers, female ministers, we hope we're also going to invite male council members, but we are naturally our patrons. So karibu sana. And with your background of gender equality, but also the economic, we know you are going to ensure that gender equality and women empowerment are realized within the EAC at all levels. Having said that, I wanted to add my voice to the debate on the floor. Right Honorable Speaker, the discussion of this bill, the EAC Surveillance and Compliance and Enforcement Bill, is very important because, as we know, the EAC Monetary Union is the third pillar of integration. And as His Excellency, the President of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame reminded us yesterday, we are already delayed because some of these institutions should have been in place by 2018. So we are already late for 4 years. And as we know, the time frame for the EAC Monetary Union was 2023. But I think if all goes according to the plan, it will be 2024. Again, another delay. And yet we know that this is a very critical pillar to integration. The EAC Surveillance and Compliance and Enforcement Bill, upon enactment and assent, among others, will help us in assessing the attainment of macroeconomic convergence by the EAC partner states, and to regularly monitor and enforce adherence to macroeconomic convergence criteria by all the partner states. So this is a very important governance institution. As the name says, it will help in the surveillance, in making sure that there is compliance, but also the enforcement with regard to fiscal, to monetary policies, and all the role that a central bank should do. So without taking much of the time, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to urge the Council of Ministers that it is one thing to pass a bill, but we know for a bill to be realized, it has to be assented by our heads of state. In 2018, we passed 2 important bills related to the monetary union. One was the Monetary Institute bill. This one was assented to, but up to now, it hasn't been implemented. We don't have this institute in place, yet we know that this is a transitional institution for the creation of the regional central bank. So really, honorable ministers, the ball is in your court. You have to ensure that this institution is created. But secondly, we also passed another bill, the Institute Bureau bill, but up to now, it hasn't been assented by heads of state. We'd also like to call your honorable ministers that you remind our council, our summit, to make sure that this is assented to. So even this surveillance bill, but also another institution related to the financial services, once all of them are passed by this important assembly, we call upon you that that the summit assents them, but also that these very important institutions are created, because as a community that aspires to ensure that you are well governed in our fundamental principles, Article 6, good governance is very important, and the creation of these institutions will ensure that even once the monetary union is put in place, the issues of governance, the issues of accountability will be well taken care of. So finally, Right Honorable Speaker, I know this is not so much related, but as we are coming towards the end of our mandate in Eala 4, a lot has been done by this great assembly. But one of the challenges we faced, honorable ministers, is that really the time that is allocated to the work of this assembly is very small. You can imagine 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, we have to undertake committee work, but at the same time, do all the work of the plenary, such that we don't even have time for research. You just get an important document like this one. Immediately after presentation, members are expected to debate. So in terms of debate, you cannot have quality debate. But then we are also created as an assembly to represent our people. We need to do more sensitization. So we really want to urge you, honorable ministers, to look into this, and if possible, add us another 1 week so that we can have time for committees and then at least 2 weeks dedicated to plenary so that we can present quality work and truly represent and contribute to the work of this great community. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Fatum. Honorable Claude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the floor. I just want to start by also congratulating Honorable Minister for being sworn in today and also joining the council and become also an ex-officio member of this assembly. That Honorable Speaker, I am very happy today that in the gallery I could see some of my colleagues whom I know so much, and they are very good friends to me because we have been trained together in different areas. I saw Mr. Ranga, whom I know when he was working in Afrodad, and Afrodad trained me in illicit financial flows and other areas in that way. So I know him as a very capable person, and I'm very glad that he is here today also to witness the proceedings of this house, while we are also discussing and passing this report on the bill aiming to establish the Surveillance, Compliance, and Enforcement Commission. I don't know, Speaker, there is also another friend of mine who is Husi Silas. I know him. He's also working for, he's a chief executive officer of one of the NGOs which are working very well. That NGO is Governance for Africa. I know him also. We met in different meetings and conferences organized by African Union. So it's my good friend. Not today, I'm very happy that I can see colleagues who are youth and also energetic youth who are also contributing to the development of Africa and the community of East Africa. Not only Speaker, while also talking about youth, I just want to point out one issue which is also on page 11 of this bill. On page 11 of this bill, there is this paragraph D, which talks about the experience of the person who will be allowed to be executive secretary of this commission. They say that there is a minimum requirement of 15 years of experience, and at least 5 of which shall be also at senior management level. That, Honorable Speaker, and all members, you know that we have in the region ministers who are under 35 years of age, and they are doing quite very well. If youth can be also working as ministers in our partner states, there's nothing I think which can hinder them or which can be also a hindrance to them to be able to serve as executive secretary of the commission, a commission like this. This commission also requires some kind of expertise and knowledge, and also that power of innovations, because our countries also need those people who are still energetic, who can also think visionary and be able to bring innovative policies which can also take forward our community. So therefore, we need in this commission youth. We need youth who can also serve for this commission and also in other institutions of the community. But it has been a habit that we are passing laws establishing institutions of the community, and those laws, you find that all the time they require a minimum of 15 years of experience for the secretary, for executive secretaries of these institutions. And this, if a person can graduate at age of, let's say, 22 or 21, for those who have started well, and in their education career. So to get this experience of 15 years, they will be around 37 or 40, which means they will no longer be under the age bracket of youth. While it's like now we are creating positions and institutions excluding the biggest portion of citizens of the community. Youth, they are making up a percentage of more than 70% of the community. But still, we are still passing laws establishing institutions which are excluding, marginalizing that part and but that part of population of East Africa. Honourable Speaker, I want to urge the Council of Ministers to look at this matter so that in the future, for other institutions that we will create, we can at least reduce the minimum years of experience required for executive secretaries of institutions. At least we make it 10. If we make it 10 years, when a person has worked for 10 years, I think he has that good level of experience to deliver to the mandate of institutions.
Information.
Honourable Speaker.
Honorable Pamela.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to inform my colleague, Jean-Claude, that the two bills which we passed under this monetary union, which was the Statistic Bureau of Statistics, and also the other one, which was the Monetary Institute, we all considered the issue of years of working experience, and we submitted our proposal, and the bills were passed with the at least 10 years of experience.
Thank you.
Honourable Speaker, I stand informed. If that is the case, then why can't we also propose an amendment to this provision that we reduce the years of experience to 10? If the precedents for other institutions we passed here in the Assembly.
Dr. Makame.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to give information to my brother, Honorable Jean-Claude Barimuyabo. I recall in the report read out here by the chairperson of the general purpose, that recommendation which is recommending is captured. And so it is something which is recommending in line with the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that.
Right, Honorable Speaker, it is a recommendation, but it is not proposed under the shade of amendments. So therefore, I want that recommendation to be effective. It should appear also under the shade of amendments.
So, you will be the one to undertake the processes to propose the amendment, including writing down what you think the new provision should be. Pass it on to the chair, and then he will pronounce himself at the end of the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The second point, Honorable Speaker, it is also in this report on page 5, the report of the committee. They say that this commission, according to the provisions in the bill, the commission is going to focus on this macroeconomic convergence criteria, so leaving out the prerequisites for monetary union, which are under Article 5.1 and 5.2 of the Monetary Union Protocol. And these prerequisites, I don't know, Speaker, I want to point out two of them. One, that there must be a partner state in order to also to engage in this monetary union process. First thing, they have to fully implement the protocol establishing the East African Community Customs Union and also the protocol establishing the East African Community Common Market. And they have had different reports, especially on the common market, depicting the issues that are not yet implemented according to the provisions of the common market protocol. So countries are still behind, lagging behind in terms of the provisions of the common market protocol. Therefore, I was expecting that this institution also will also look at this issue, how partner states are also complying with regard to the implementation of the previous protocols that our partner states have signed. So the second thing, which is also part of the prerequisites for monetary union under Article 5, it is number F, which talks about harmonization of policies and the laws relating to the production, analysis, and dissemination of statistical information. That triggered me to the bill which we passed here in the Assembly. It was also council bill. It is East African Community Statistical Bill, or bill which was passed by this Assembly on 1st November 2018. Now it is 4 years. But that bill was not yet assented to. It was a council bill. I remember I was a member of a committee which dealt with this bill. I was a member of a committee on communication, trade, and investment. And that committee tried also to propose some amendments to enrich that bill. But because some council members were reluctant to agree with us, so we succumbed to the proposals of council in order to pass the bill, because it was so important for the monetary union to be in a place. But till now, I don't know if you have received, the Right Honorable Speaker, any reports from the Council of Ministers telling us what are the reasons why we don't have.
Just a minute, honorable members, I think we can even predict what the council will say. They will say they are looking into it and things like that. So I really want to suggest that on these pending matters, some of which really there are no convincing explanation, we should reject this template response. So, we are looking into it. So we would rather give council some time, if it is an hour or 30 minutes, to come back and tell us what's the issue. Yes. Yes, the CTC, just a minute. This time we will not accept a situation where you say, we are looking into it. Come back and tell us, these are your bills, you brought it to the House. And before you bring the bill, it means you have discussed them. If it was a private member's bill initiated here, and it gets stuck at the assent level in a partner state, would say the partner state has a different opinion from the opinion of the House. But you bring your bill here, and even if we may make a little bit of amendment, I believe these are not the kind of amendment that go to address the substance of the bill. Let us know what the resolution is. If there is corrective measures to be taken, let's know what we need to do. But most likely, I can tell you with no risk of contradiction, that council will tell us, we take note of this, we are going to work on it. And next time it will be the same response. Seriously, let us change that approach. I know, Honorable Claude, you are still on the floor, but let me hear from the citizen.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm just providing information. The East African Bureau of Statistics Bill is a matter that Council concluded, and we are even put on the agenda of the 22nd Plenary Summit that convened on 22nd July in Arusha. However, there was a partner state that had some concerns, and we said we are going to undertake to address those concerns. And we can promise, Right Honorable Speaker, that the next ordinary meeting of the summit, this is one of the bills that will be coming for assent. So there's general consensus.
But now, what are the concerns that will be addressed out of the House? If a partner state has a concern on a bill that we passed, I think those concerns is there a mechanism they can be addressed without coming back here? Because the legislation is a shared function between the House and the summit.
Information.
So if there was any, you can't inform the Speaker. The Speaker is very well informed.
No,
it's okay, Honorable. So basically, if there is any concern raised by a partner state on a bill, those concerns must be addressed inside the House. So I would want to learn from you, CTC, what are those concerns that you address raised on a bill we passed? And what is the procedure under which you can address them without coming back here? Honorable Mukuria, you wanted to inform?
Yes, I wanted to inform the CTC that Article 63 of the treaty says a bill that has not received assent as provided in paragraph 1 of this article within 3 months from the date of which it was passed by the Assembly shall be referred back to the Assembly. So that's the information I want.
Thank you. That's very important information. Yes, for you, CTC.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. We looked at the concerns, and our intention is to have a discussion with the partner state to abandon those concerns, and if there's need in future to amend, then that can be done through the Assembly. We didn't think the concerns were so fundamental to continue.
So is the partner state finally agreeable to whatever you proposed to them?
Right, Honorable.
Or is it something you plan to do and you haven't done yet? You see, listen, you know very well how much we spend when we sit here. It's even a matter of accountability. You know how much we spend when we sit here. So we cannot sit here, pass bills, they go back, 5 years. If there was no need for that bill, why do you bring it in the first place? Yes.
Clarification.
So what were the concerns? Who had them? How are you handling them? You know? So this is the discussion, Honorable Ministers, you need to have. You need to have this discussion. You need to have and stop giving us template responses of, you know,
clarification,
softening us and telling us you will consider, you will consider. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Clarification.
Yeah, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think I hear you very well, and as a council, we have to do things better. I suggest that when we say we have a concern, let's say which concern you have. Yes. Number one. Number two, when should we iron out that concern? Because as it is right now, it's open-ended. We cannot work like an open-ended environment. So we should say, okay, a country XYZ has a concern. Why? Bring it back to you within X time. That concern should have fixed. But right now we say we have a concern that has no timelines, in which case we cannot sort it out. I think CTC should help us and say, look here, country XYZ, you have XYZ bills not assented. When should they be assented? When, in terms of time? By 10 days, 20 days? I don't know how. I mean, we need to have some timelines. For now, we can't keep on working like this. Otherwise, I just go back and
information.
Thank you very much.
Information.
Yes, Honorable Order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity, and I want to thank Honorable Minister for information on this issue. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm taking this chance to just again inform the Council of Ministers, but especially the Secretariat, because I know, Right Honorable Speaker, that in the process we have when we are working on the bill, one of the things is consultation, and this has been done. I know very well that this committee, before this bill was brought to the public hearing process, there was a consultation with the Secretariat. And that is the time where the CTC and other responsible staff members of the technical arm of the Secretariat comes together with the committee to discuss on the matters of concern of any bill. And that is where Right Honorable Minister was asking on how this process can be done and where they can put the issues. And that is where they're supposed to come and inform the committee on any areas, especially if it is the council bill. And after that, we know very well that the Assembly, through the leadership of our Speaker, provides the opportunity to again do the public hearing. And in the public hearing, all these stakeholders, including the Secretariat, are invited in this deliberation. So I support the Right Honorable Speaker, the guidance you are giving, so that as Honorable Minister is also accepting that we need to change, we need to do business differently. I think we need to start implementing that, lamenting every now and then. And finally, Right Honorable Speaker, we always, when we bring recommendation, in all the reports we are doing, we recommend on the implementation of all these recommendations. So we are continuing to experience the same challenges, and we are wasting the resources of this community and time. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I think it is a time we need to change the way we are doing our business.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Maybe let's go back to where we ended. It was a bit of a deviation, but it was very important. You see, my understanding of a partner state position, something we can call this is a country position, must be something above trivialities. You know, a country that has committed to this monetary union, ministers have taken a lot of time, because if we wanted to know how much you spent to develop the bill, maybe several years, isn't it? So it means the basics you have agreed, the basics. And as I said, we don't change much here. So the object and the purpose is not shaken, basically. We have not gone to a point where the Assembly and the Council will disagree on basic principles of the bills you bring. Changes that are done are meant to streamline with what we pick from the public, but the object and purpose, what we call object and purpose in legislation, is not shaken. So you spend more time to assent on something you discussed for years. So maybe we should find time as an assembly to investigate whether actually these are problems from partner states or from the coordination center in Arusha. Because I think at times partner states are not properly advised on these issues. So we are going to debate this bill that the council brought us, hopefully pass it. Then we shall have several years of hearing that someone is concerned again. And we take several years to address the concern. And maybe the concern is, by the way, CTC, what was the concern? Because it can't be a taboo. What was the concern?
Just 2 days before the summit met, a partner state communicated to the Secretariat that that is one of the bills that shouldn't be taken for assent. And they gave us written communication raising a number of issues. Right Honorable Speaker, as you know, we operate on consensus. So if a partner state raises an issue on a bill, we can't take it to the summit for assent. But we have been guided, Right Honorable Speaker, as soon as we leave here, we shall communicate with that partner state and request for a timeline within which this matter should be sorted out. So, Right Honorable Speaker, that is the way forward. And then we are sure that by the next meeting of
information, Right Honorable Speaker. By the way, no one is advocating for interruption into the process of finding a consensus between partner states. We are only saying when you have found a consensus and you come to us, then you have no reason to delay further.
Yes, much obliged.
Yes, because we don't want it to be misrepresented.
Yes, much obliged.
Yes.
Order.
We are not saying you should
Order,
go-
Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Odong. I'll come back to you, Honorable.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on a point of order. You requested the CTC to give clarity on what the concerns were from which partner state. Right Honorable Speaker, is it in order? And again, this falls to back to what you said, template responses. Is it in order for the CTC to make reference to just a partner state? Let us be specific. This is a house of record. We need to know which partner state is this and what were the issues.
You see, CTC, there cannot be a secret on a matter that concerns the bill that was brought to us. And it can't be interference in council matters because we are talking about the bill we passed here. And it is the bill you brought. It wasn't initiated in this house.
Point of order.
So maybe you are not prepared to give clarity.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I had
And
an information to give.
I can spare you on this, but you know, what we are trying to show you is, no, it's not, it shouldn't be business as usual. CTC, you have a role to play. You are you're holding a very important office, and I shouldn't look like I'm being too hard on you, because I believe the role of the CTC is to coordinate the partner states such that these instruments we pass in the House are properly handled. But you have found a very convenient way of always telling us we are doing this, we are looking into this, we are doing, you know, that's I think we are not being fair to the process if we continue like this. Honorable, no?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think this is the house of rules and procedure. And the CTC must take responsibility on this matter. You have put it, there's no better way to put it, better than what you have done. But the rules have been quoted that a member state, even in any other jurisdictions of parliament, if the president does not assent to a bill, then he takes it back to the House with a comment that I'm not signing because of ABCD. So that it can either be amended or reduced by the House. So the procedures are followed. CTC is the legal advisor of this organ, or this organization called East African Community. And there's a lot of things hanging which are all legal, which has all time frame, even from the treaty. Forget about the procedure of the House, even from the treaty itself, which has been signed by the member states. And they have committed themselves to that. And it is up to him to own up this matter and take the responsibility and guide the House and the summit and the partner state. You are all of them converge at your point. All the buck stops at you. So take the responsibility, please. And it cannot be continued like this for ages. That is why we are 21 years. We are still stagnant because of this protocol has not been signed. This treaty has not been signed. This bill has not been signed. It's not a business as usual.
And most likely heads of state are not even aware of this. You know, before we walked in here, I spoke to the new minister. I was advising her. Some of the colleagues were here. Please find time and have mastery of issues under your docket. Don't rely too much on what people tell you around. So most likely, even the respective ministers are not even aware. If we mentioned which partner state, I wouldn't be surprised to find even maybe the minister doesn't even know the position was taken. Yes, or if they know what kind of explanation was placed before them. You know, all these things you were talking about, there were prior negotiations. This is a council bill. If we raise new concerns, we are taking the process back. Or these issues, yes, are concerns, but not the kind that can derail the process. I'm not sure that kind of persuasion takes place before we conveniently say we can't go ahead. Cities, should I give you time to go and get answers for us? You know, so we have a lot of powers that we never exercise.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I consider that I was properly guided. When the letter came, I also shared it with the office of the clerk, so I thought I had informed you appropriately. But what you are going to do is to follow up and ensure this matter comes to the subsequent summit.
I give up. Honorable Kuro, do you continue?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was concluding. I just wanted to say that all these institutions which are provided for by the Monetary Union Protocol, their mandates are complementary. If one is missing, it will also affect the functions of the other. Now, if the prerequisites for monetary union, one is talking about production, publication and dissemination of statistical information, and that is statistical bureau is not, that statistical bureau is not there, it means it will also hamper and also affect the effectiveness and the functions of this commission, which we are intending to establish. That one was Speaker, I just want to submit and thank you and support the report with that amendment, which I want to propose.
Thank you, Honorable Kalonzo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Let me join my colleagues firstly in welcoming Honorable Rebecca Miano, our new council member. Right Honorable Speaker, let me also thank you and your leadership that made this plenary possible, complete with an address by our summit member, His Excellency Paul Kagame. It was indeed a privilege. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank in a special way the Rwandan chapter. I am finding myself feeling at home, even my dress code has changed, which is not easy given the process that is going on back home. So I really want to appreciate them in a special way. Let me also take this opportunity to thank our colleagues who have made it to Eala 5. I hope to join them soon. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm a member of this committee, which is led by my very able chair and namesake, Honorable Kennedy. I just want to mention one or two things. I did not want to interrupt my colleague earlier, Honorable Abdikadir. He touched on the issue of the quorum. And Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, I really want to urge Council to really consider their modus operandi. We have seen important work of this community come to a standstill for whatever reasons because of quorum, even at times, embarrassingly enough, at summit level. So if we are to achieve what we plan to do so, it is important that they consider how they will look at this issue of quorum with regard to efficiency. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to speak about financing and emphasize this. We have passed and we are continuing to pass and creating new organs and institutions, but we have a strange, and I must confess, I'm not a mathematician, so I do not understand the logic of this business of zero increment. From a logical perspective, where institutions grow, you must allow for adequate financing of the new institutions. We cannot create these institutions and then we have some technocrats somewhere who then say we cannot increase the budget or we cannot fund them. I really want to urge Council to look into this matter seriously. And I want to also in your guidance, you had requested the information from the CTC. Maybe they could counsel and the CTC could tell us how far they have gone on amending the treaty as we onboard new members. Maybe it will solve some of these issues we're having, including the quorum issue. Honorable Speaker, my last point is with regards to what Honorable John Claude had said. The challenge we are having with this institution in particular is that majority of the people who would be sitting on this board are the central bank governors, which from the few that I've seen, I have unfortunately not seen a young central bank governor that I'm aware of in the region. But it is indeed something to consider, especially for those of us who will want votes one day. This, not taking into account of the youth may cause the vote hunting process, when it happens then, to be unnecessarily difficult. And we have seen this in some of our partner states. Right, Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I want to submit and I support the report.
Thank you, Honorable Kalonzo. Honorable Rose.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to make my remarks on this report. On the onset, I want to say that I'm a member of this committee. Right Honorable Speaker, I also, first of all, want to join colleagues in thanking His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, for the wonderful expose he gave to us yesterday about the status of the East African community. And Your Excellency, Your Right Honorable Speaker, I hope as an assembly, we will be given time to debate this, I want to call it an expose or report on the state of the East African community that was given by His Excellency the President. Right Honorable Speaker, secondly, I want to thank the Republic of Kenya for giving us a very wonderful minister with a vast experience. In the names of Madam Rebecca Miano, we are so grateful to have you here, and we hope we shall gain from your wonderful experience for the good of this community. You're most welcome to the East African Legislative Assembly. Thirdly, Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Rwanda chapter and the people of Rwanda for the welcome, the warm welcome they have given us since we arrived to this wonderful city. We are very grateful and we really appreciate the beauty of this city and the people of this country. We are so grateful for that. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank you for the way you have managed this assembly since its inception, amidst all the challenges of financing, of COVID-19, and others. Right Honorable Speaker, you have excelled, I want to say. Where others failed, you kept us going. You gave us hope. So we are very grateful for that. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, as a member of this committee, I want to draw your attention to page 4, where it says, right from the top there, A, that the importance, right from up, let me read, that the importance and urgency of establishing the Surveillance, Compliance and Enforcement Commission are provided by paragraphs 1, 2, and 5 of Article 5 of the protocol. which states that partner states shall fully implement the protocol establishing the East African Community Customs Union and the protocol establishing the East African Community Common Market. These are prerequisites that needed to have been fulfilled before we move on to this other protocol of the monetary union, right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, when I look at the protocol on establishment of the East African Customs Union, it has requirements. And we are supposed to have fulfilled this before we move on to the monetary union. One of them is on Article 2.5c, which requires that partner states should have fully eliminated all the non-tariff barriers before we move on to this protocol. Today, as we speak, I don't know how many NTBs we still have that are hampering trade in this region. Right, Honorable Speaker, Article 24 of the Customs Union also requires the establishment of the East African Committee on Trade Remedies. That Trade Remedies Committee is supposed to handle matters to do with the rules of origin, anti-dumping policies, subsidies and countervailing measures, dispute settlements, and other matters. These are very important issues.
Another interruption. I think this is another issue that has been raised several times here. I know Honorable Makame has been very consistent on this. I was told off record that there was an attempt to put it in place. Again, I think it died in the council, right? Because there was fear that either it is going to take powers of the council, the court, something like that. So imagine, you know? So this is, it's a requirement established by a protocol, right? That it must be in place. And that means without it, you have not fully implemented the protocol. You are not removing it. You are not implementing it. See, again, on this one, by the way, where is the SG? SG should be back. Because we cannot deal with the new minister whom we just saw in now. I know the council chair had a reason to travel, to be away. The minister who was here also had an emergency. He will be back later. But how can we proceed with just the minister we saw in 5 minutes ago? There should be at least the Secretary General, you know? Yes. The SG should come back. Send him a message to come back. Yes. Yes. Send him a message to come back.
We adjourn.
So we will not adjourn. We will not adjourn. But we will need to be briefed. We will need to be briefed. Why is this Trade Remedies Committee not put in place? And we will need to be updated on this today. Today. We are not going to take this template response of you are looking into it. Let us know where the initiative died. Who doesn't want it and why? Yes. Who does not want this committee and why don't they want it? So that we can know and maybe stop demanding. You know, at times you can make up a decision and say, we stop demanding this. But again, it is part of the protocol signed by partner states after a long period of negotiation. So who is blocking the implementation of this? We will demand the answers from the council today. Yes, Honorable Rose, you can proceed.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. As you've clearly stated it, we have challenges with the council. Right Honorable Speaker, when you further read the Customs Union Protocol, there are even some provisions that I would say are obsolete. Because
Article 2 of this protocol, of this customs union protocol requires that the commission, it states that the commission shall be composed of 9 members. We have since moved away from 3 members, member states. We are now 7. And it says also in B that each partner state shall provide nominate 3 members to this commission. Now, if we are 6, now 7, and even the council itself has never brought any amendment to ensure that these provisions are updated in accordance with the current status, then who is in charge really of ensuring that these protocols, that we achieve the provisions of the treaty? And the
Information, Honorable Speaker,
for which
information.
this committee was formed. Thank you.
Claude, yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and Honorable Rose for allowing me to give you information. This Plenary Remedies Committee, actually there was a proposal of amendment by the council. They wanted to just remove that number of 9. They make it open so that even the new members can have that possibility of also nominating members of that committee. But the problem, which was also part of the report we discussed a day before yesterday, it was that the partners, all the partner states have not yet ratified the proposed amendment for the customs union protocol. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Rose, proceed.
Thank you for the information. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Now again, if we ask why our partner says not ratifying, again, it is going to be another frustrating exercise. Yeah.
Right, Honorable Speaker, as I said that I don't know whom to blame, but I think we are being let down by the Council of Ministers for quite a number of issues that we have kept on raising and we don't even get answers. I want to state here, Right Honorable Speaker, since we began this 4th Assembly, we have made recommendations urging the Council of Ministers. We are now in the 5th year. We are left with just one more plenary and we conclude the 4th Assembly. But I'm yet to hear and to get a report from the Council of Ministers on all the recommendations that were made as an assembly. I've not heard. We have made very important recommendations urging the council to do certain things in order for this community to move forward, but nothing is coming from the council. So even then, you see, Right Honorable Speaker, we are here today. And as you've said, it will just have the new member seated there. Where are the rest? Why are they not interested, even when they are around, in listening to us? We keep talking to ourselves. It is very unfortunate. And I think, I don't know now, maybe the summit or the council itself should do something about this. Because we spend a lot of money sitting in these plenaries, making resolutions, and nothing happens. It's very frustrating. Nothing coming from the council. So I think it's a high time we change the way we do things. Yesterday, His Excellency talked about being accountable. So the council should also be accountable to this community by doing what they're supposed to do. If we make recommendations to the council, we want to hear from them so that we move on. If it is unimplementable, we also want to hear that. But if it is implementable, then tell us what we all need to do about these recommendations that we make, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the issue of a sustainable funding mechanism, it is one of those things we have always talked about. And we are coming to the end of the 4th Eala with none. And I think it started all the way from the 3rd Eala, requesting for a sustainable funding mechanism without which all activities of the community are hampered. because there's no money, including this assembly. We are sitting here, there's a lot of work to be done. When you look at the order paper, there are so many reports that should be presented, and we have done our part. But there's no time. There's no money even to make the assembly sit and accomplish its work. So, Right Honourable Speaker, the issue of a sustainable funding mechanism is one of those urgent issues that the council, even today, should report to us and tell us what have they done since that Eala up to now? What is going on? Why are we failing, even just on agreeing on a sustainable funding mechanism for the sake of...
Honorable members, I know there are so many issues you can raise, but maybe today, for us to make progress, let's just focus on the report of the committee. Yes, Honorable Susan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to move under Rule 14 of our rules of procedure. Honorable Speaker, as you guided, we are talking to ourselves. This is a council bill. It was brought by council. The committee did its job. Now we are reporting back, and the council members are not here. We are literally talking to ourselves. Right, Honorable Speaker, as you can see the order paper, we have a lot of work to do. Since we have very limited time, I would like to propose that we concentrate on our reports. We defer debate on this bill until the council members are here. Maybe they can, if they see it important for us to pass this bill, they will provide funding and then we extend our plenary sitting next week. Otherwise, we are burning our precious hours where we can handle our own committee reports on a bill of council when they're not interested in this very bill. Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg that we adjourn debate on this and proceed to our committee reports. I submit.
Yes, honorable members, I understand why Honorable Susan is really, and I think the sentiments are shared across. But any report we touch on will require the presence of the council. So there is a council member in the house anyway. I was just being practical about it, that there are issues. I mean, almost everything we are discussing, she may not be able to provide us with the answers. But let's continue with the debate. In the end, when we want the council to respond, we shall manage that situation at that point in time.
Clarification, Right, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I want clarification that the new minister who has started actually today without any knowledge of the genesis of this particular bill is up to the task that she'll be able to respond to all our queries and concerns. Honorable Speaker, really, we are being taken for granted. We don't have even enough time to work. And the council, they're not here. For me, I just find that is conduct unbecoming for us to proceed. At least let's get a minister who knows the genesis of this bill and will be in position to answer our concerns.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we know at what point the council comes in, right? We are not there yet. If we shall get there and there is a council member saying, I wasn't part of the debate, or in my own wisdom, I realize that council is not in a position to respond, then we shall make decisions at that point in time. But we shouldn't fall into the trap of delaying the bill. Yes, it's been delayed enough. So we should not be complimentary to the delay that has happened already. Yes.
Information.
You get me?
I'm sorry.
You,
I just want to inform Susan.
but let's, yes.
Yes.
Okay, Honorable Chris.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to inform Susan. By the way, supporting her argument. Honorable Susan, thank you, Ambassador, Honorable Ambassador. So, you know, titles in this house, they are always a big challenge. So, Speaker, the information I want to give on our Susan is on the Article 48 of the treaty on the membership of the Assembly. If you look there is no excuse on having one member of the council. So we have a partner state where they have a minister and a deputy minister, and we know their docket is about East Africa. So if a minister is not in the house, what about her or his deputy minister? So we need also clarification why a minister is absent and the deputy minister is absent.
You see, we don't need to, when the council is in the house, they are part of the composition of the house. So if we open a Pandora's box of how we are constituted, even within our chapters, we shall be heading towards another terrain we don't want to be. So the council is here, members are here, we have quorum. You see my point? That is how we look at it. But the practicality of how we are going to handle the matters is where we have a challenge. We don't have a challenge in terms of composition and quorum and everything. But let's handle it at a later point. Let us continue with the debate. Honorable Rose.
Right Honorable Speaker, just to on the issue of the financial funding, the sustainable funding mechanism, it's part of the report. And it is on page 7, part 5, recommendations of the committee number 4. That's why I'm talking about it. Yeah, so that aside, Right Honorable Speaker, the convergence criteria that is given here by the protocol on the East African Customs Union is very wide. And it should have been this surveillance commission, this commission to do the surveillance, to ensure adherence to the requirements. Now, there will also be need for review of these provisions on the convergence criteria, Right Honorable Speaker. Because when
by
you
the
look
way,
at
we can decide to take an early lunch break. Let's have an early lunch break. We resume at what time? The usual time? 2:30. Make sure the minister, another council member and the Secretary General should be in the house. Another member of the council and the Secretary General should be here when we resume in the afternoon. If they are not here, I will not proceed. So we are adjourned. Honorable Rose, I will remember you are on the floor. So I adjourn until afternoon at 2:30. I suspend until afternoon at 2:30.
Resumption of proceedings.
Good afternoon, honorable members. Good afternoon. So even those few we had, they are no longer here. Are they boycotting or what? Sergeant, call the council members in. Was there a committee meeting in the council? Which committee was that? And members of legal are here? So if members of legal committee are here, then the council should also be here. If Did you skip lunch yourselves? Sergeant, you call the council members inside, ex-officio members. I think one question I'm going, of course, I will have to suspend again and wait for them. But one question we have to resolve with the council is how they are going to compensate this time. Yes, because we have to finish business that we started. So I hope we resolve that here. I believe you don't mind staying longer in Kigali. So I don't know how long we need to wait for them. Can you advise, Sergeant?
Procedure, Mr. Speaker. Procedure.
Honorable Makame.
Mr. Speaker, accordingly, I would assume that the procedure is that this house has to be fully constituted. And when the house is fully constituted, it means that we have quorum and we have members of the council. And for that particular reason, Mr. Speaker, if the members of the council are not here, you can adjourn for 15 minutes, and then when we come back, we are certain whether they are here or not.
Well, I'm not sure it's about quorum, but it's about the practicality of issues. So how do we start? Who are we addressing now? Yes, because we can only debate when we are addressing our opinions to the council, the owners of the bill, isn't it? I wish we had one to take notes and brief others when they come in. So, but when we don't have anyone, we will have to wait until they come. But I'm going to propose the extension of this plenary until we finish all the matters that we have. Until we finish all the matters we have decided to complete during this plenary. If it is for 1 day or 2, depending on how much will be pending. So let us then suspend again for 15 minutes. Not about the quorum, but about the fact that we don't have council here who are supposed to yes. So 15 minutes, and maybe you may consider not going away because it's not such a long time, 15 minutes. host minister should be there throughout. Well, I know there are so many other responsibilities you have, but now it becomes an issue of prioritization. So when we suspended, the Honorable Akor was on the floor. And I guess you were almost concluding. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Yes, as I conclude, I just wanted to say that there is need to review the convergence criteria, the provisions in the convergence criteria, because now, as we speak, when you look at the requirements, I doubt whether there is any country that satisfies the requirements for, say, the debt equity ratio, the GDP per capita, the fiscal policies, and others. So, Right Honorable Speaker, this is a red flag, definitely, that if you want to achieve the monetary union and basing it on the convergence criteria, as well as required by the protocol, then it's a high time a council sits and sees how to make sure that the convergence criteria that we have now is reviewed in order to ensure that this protocol is achieved. Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to air out my views on this report. And I want also to thank the chair and the colleagues, members who are together with me in the committee for the precise report. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Ross. Honorable Dr. Makame, Honorable General
Thank you.
Alak.
Thank you very much.
Engineer Mnya will follow, Honorable Mary Mujenyi will follow, Honorable Dongo will follow, Honorable Kakoza will follow, Honorable Francois. I will pick another list later.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor to add my voice onto this important report tabled by the chairperson of the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed, allow me to first of all express my sincere appreciations to the Parliament of the Republic of Rwanda, the leadership of the Parliament, the leadership of the government of Rwanda, and the people of Rwanda for the gesture of hospitality and warm reception extended to us during this visit. I never had an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to speak to this other than giving points of information. So now that I'm saying this now, I have to register this, Mr. Speaker, because I can say we've had a very good time since we've arrived here in Rwanda. And Mr. Speaker, we've enjoyed the food. I want to tell you, Mr. Speaker, I had something called Zingaro. It was extensively.
Thank you. Honorable members, I know you really appreciate your stay. And it is always good to express appreciation. But can we, in the interest of time, stop?
Okay, Mr. Speaker.
Let's just address the report.
Mr. Speaker.
We know we all appreciate. Let's address the report because we need to, move fast.
Mr. Speaker, I'll take that into mind, but allow me also to congratulate the incoming cabinet secretary from the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Rebecca Miano, who's the youngest member of Eala. Actually, when Honorable Nuru was appointed to the commission, I was expecting he will be the youngest member in that position, but now there's coming another younger member than him. That's also something we need to congratulate the member from the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, now going directly to the report, I'd like to declare that I'm a member of the General Purpose Committee, not this committee, the Legal Rules and Privileges, but Mr. Speaker, having keen interest in the report, I really want to declare that I support the report in full. Other than the amendments which are being proposed, then we support those amendments. But also, Mr. Speaker, recalling the statement from the head of state of the Republic of Rwanda and member of summit, he gave us a very educative message yesterday. And he spoke on issue of accountability. Mr. Speaker, I'm returning on the floor with this issue of accountability in the area where we need to have monitoring and evaluation. If you are planning to have, in order for you to make a good plan, you have to check the progress of the steps you have made. And that is why the member of summit categorically stated that we were supposed to have a monetary institute, East African Monetary Institute, functioning right now. But when we passed the bill of the Monetary Institute and became an act, we recall reminding the council in this floor of this assembly, Mr. Speaker, that the council, whenever they are bringing an institute, they want to form an organ or an institute of the community, they should come with a supporting budget to that. My colleague, Honorable Musyoka, earlier deliberating this report this morning, stated that we are having zero budget increase. But zero budget increase, and then we are saying we are forming institutions and they should depend on that same budget which we've been having. And actually, it's not a zero budget increase, Mr. Speaker. But if you look at the budget seriously, you'll see that it is a decrease in the budget. We are having a decrement in the budget year after year, Mr. Speaker. And that's when the member of summit pointed out that we have to find some alternative financing mechanisms. But Mr. Speaker, what we said earlier in this assembly is that the council should be submitting regular reports. And that is according to Article 49(2) of the treaty. And Article 49(2) of the treaty requires us, the council can refer those reports to us. But the council is keeping on doing some works which there's no accountability, and the people of East Africa do not even know how the integration is faring. Because when we finished the customs union, went to monetary union, sorry, we went to customs common market and now monetary union, but there is no monitoring and evaluation. Mr. Speaker, this is something which we need to have the council pronounce itself when it's responding to what you had alluded earlier, that they have to respond to the formation of the Committee on Trade and Remedies as per Article 24 of the Customs Union Protocol. They should also pronounce themselves on submission of these regular reports, Mr. Speaker, because we believe if they have a system of submitting regular reports to this House, then there will be some form of people and officers taking responsibility of reporting. And while knowing that they're going to be reporting, they must report progress. They will not be ready to report zero progress. Mr. Speaker, on the other hand, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to point out that, Mr. Speaker, during when I first was employed in the Ministry of ESC, that was during the first term or the first period of President Jakaya Kikwete. And I was assigned, among other roles, to look into the operationalization of what we call the East African Development Fund. That was way back in 2007, 2008 there. And that one was meant to be an issue that would have to facilitate operations and financing of the community. That is 15 years ago, Mr. Speaker. And this issue was with the council, and this issue was also with the summit. But until now, Mr. Speaker, there is no alternative financing mechanism. And this is very serious because we need to make progress. I recall again the statement, the address given by the head of state of the Republic of Rwanda. He said here that we need to move to a community which will be less dependent on external support. How can we how can we become less dependent on external support if we are not supporting our own community? And why did we have integration at the first place? We should, I think the council and us, maybe we should have some sort of a retreat or something, Mr. Speaker, so that we go to the drawing board and look at the objectives of the community. Why are we integrating? We want to integrate because we want to benefit from the integration, to benefit from trade, so that we become self-sufficient. How can we become self-sufficient while we are not supporting the progress of integration and the progress of facilitating the trade? The president was speaking here. He said that we are having prevalence of non-tariff barriers. Now, Mr. Speaker, it's something which we think maybe, unless we have a system of regular reporting. Now, there was another submission here. There was an issue on that bill, council bill, which was not ratified by the council itself. It's it's very easy to find a bill from being a private member bill. Maybe some partner state is not happy with some comments or something, or some contents. Then that can be acceptable maybe. But where a council-sponsored bill is not ratified, then it means there is a problem somewhere. Because this council is the same one which brought this bill here, but also there are some protocols which are pending. Now, Mr. Speaker, if we have this regular reporting, then we can track, because we are seeing the council making its own decisions and it is failing to implement the decisions it has made, because there is no some sort of tracking of implementation. Like the monetary union. The monetary union, the council committed that the monetary union would be operational by 2024. The East African Monetary Institute would be operational by 2015. Now, Mr. Speaker, this is 2022, but what we are saying is we are 2023 less a few weeks. And these institutions have not been operational yet. Now, Mr. Speaker, there was a rhetoric that maybe we should stop progressing and see how we are implementing the first two pillars of integration, that is the customs union and common market. But I wonder whether that will be helpful. But Mr. Speaker, I beg to end here by saying that it would be very welcoming from us to hear the council saying that they will be tabling the reports regularly so that we can assist them in following up the implementation of integration. I beg to submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I want to remind you, members, address the report. Address the report. We have a report before us, and that is what we need to debate. We are not doing general debate on the functioning of the council and what, just to address the report. Yes. Honorable Alak.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Let me first of all thank His Excellency President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, for his good address of yesterday, where he really mentioned the question of the will and good governance, which we really need very much. Let me also thank the new member to the council, Honorable Rebecca, for having joined a custom union, but this one really, it is the blood of an organization, something connected with money, and we have to handle it well. If we really achieve this monetary union then we will easily go to consideration. But the way it is being handled here, I have some comments to make. Now, the report of the committee is based on the protocol on the establishment of East African Community Monetary Union that was signed by the heads of state in 2013. Now, I've seen something here which is not in order. As President, His Excellency President Kagame talked yesterday, he talked very well about the will, about good governance. But the way things come from the top to the council and to us, and maybe down to the grassroots, maybe we are going to fail this integration because we seem not to capture the spirit which we get from our heads of summit. Now, what was prepared by the council here as the bill? I have a criticism on the question of, because the committee has referred here, that part 3 talks of governance of the commission. If you talk of the governance of the commission, if you go to page 8, number 9 of the bill, it talks of the commission shall have a board composed of the ministers responsible for finance from each partner state. And you will have the executive secretary. The chairperson of the board shall be the minister responsible for finance. Now, from the protocol, you are talking of macroeconomic policy, and you are talking of monetary policy. You are talking of exchange rate policy. Now, you are going to have a board where you have ministers of finance. What are the governors of the bank? Because you have to have macro policy, macroeconomic policy, and then the monetary policy. The governors of the bank are not included in this board. I have seen also in the report of the committee, when they went for stakeholders consultation, I think four countries out of the 6 countries of East Africa did well because they had their representation. But if you come to the Republic of South Sudan, the Republic of Rwanda, the Republic of South Sudan, they didn't meet anybody from Ministry of Finance. Is this really? As the consultation has been well done, if you come to the Republic of Rwanda, they have met the Ministry of Finance, but they have not met the central bank. Unless I have to be convinced that the Rwanda Governors Board represents the central bank. Now, if we begin to ignore the central bank in this situation, it is not here on the board, and they are not being contacted in some other countries.
Information, right, Honorable?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, Honorable Rosa.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to give information to my colleague, Honorable General. I just wanted to inform General that in the body of the bill, if you read it through, you'll find that actually these board members are allowed to co-opt members into that board. Definitely, depending on the kind of issues they are looking at, they have the powers to co-opt members. Thank you. So it could also include the members of the central bank as you wish. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Rose. While respecting your suggestion, I will still disagree with that. Because you can't just be copying, the governors of the central bank. It cannot. You can copy other people to help you, but the governors of the central bank, must be accommodated on this board. Otherwise, you will never move forward on the monetary policy, on the exchange policy. It will not be dealt it will not be dealt with by the Ministry of Finance in other country. So I am seeing here this one.
But I think there are other areas where we can borrow the experience. I don't know, for example, if you look at, because in the end, these are supposed to lead into, some form of the bank, right?
Yes.
Regional bank.
Yes.
So who are, for example, board members of African Development Bank?
Yeah, yes.
Are they governors? Are they ministers of finance, for example?
While respecting that position, Right Honorable Speaker, I will still maintain my position that if you go with this anomaly forward, I don't think that this monetary union will succeed. If you really don't deal with those of the central bank, right away. So here, I'm saying the committee did not deal with this question of governance of the commission efficiently, as it also was ignored by the council. And then when they did the consultation in the partner state, the ministries also relevant were not included. So I am of the opinion that this bill has to be returned to the council to work on it and brought forward again.
Honorable Alak, you cannot return it, you can rather amend it.
Okay.
Because I don't think, for example, the fact that the minister from South Sudan was not there, they may even choose not to meet the committee because, well, they were part of developing the bill because it is a partner states bill. But it is here for us to give opinion on the bill. So you can, for example, you raised the issue of including the governors. Either you can move it as an amendment or otherwise. But I don't think it is that weighty to send it back. Honorable Kennedy. By the way,
Yes.
Because we started, Honorable Alak, you said this is a very important bill, and I agree with you. So let's maintain that spirit as well as we process it, including not making heavy conclusions about it on things that we can fix here.
So thank you, Right
Honorable Kennedy.
Speaker. So I agree, there's no problem. I am making an amendment that let's include the governors of the central banks on this board. This is what I'm saying.
Yes,
And,
Honorable Kennedy, do you prefer to respond later?
And then
or
again,
is it the information you are giving?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I just want to inform my honorable colleague that this bill deals with compliance, surveillance, and enforcement. The bill that deals with the monetary policy is the bill on the East African Monetary Institute. This is to deal with the compliance, enforcement, and that's the function of
the executives.
So please, it's different from the other one that deals with the monetary policy or fiscal policy of the partnerships. I thank you. If
Enforcement
can help
is the role of executive.
Yeah.
Additional information.
Further information.
No, okay, the member is no longer on the floor, so there is no one to inform. Yes.
He's still on the.
Let us proceed. Whoever has a point of information can include them in your own substantive debate.
so, okay, thank you, Right Honorable.
Are you still on the floor?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, because I had thought, in this protocol, it was talking of East African Bank. And I thought if you are making a commission for compliance and surveillance, then it is also necessary that you continue really create the institutions that can keep watch on this kind of a central bank. But otherwise, if people are saying we agree with this, and I have mentioned it from the beginning, that the blood of an organization is connected with money. And this monetary union, if we do it well, then we will reach federation or confederation. Otherwise, I've registered my reservations about it, but let's move ahead, because it seems as if we want at least to go ahead with this, so that we really bring about nearer the establishment.
Honorable Alaka, you need to be optimistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
My information, right, Honorable.
Just be optimistic.
No, okay,
Yes. Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah, let me agree, and then
Yeah.
let me
Okay,
support,
okay, Honorable
let me
Rose,
support
please.
the report.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Honorable Mnya.
Maybe clarification, right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
I can see he's next to you. You can ask him when he will clarify.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor to debate this report and the bill. Let me first also join my colleague to congratulate the newly sworn in minister from the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, if I have also to debate this report, let me say first, I have read the report and of the Committee of Legal, and actually, I support the report, despite that there are some other small things which I need to comment. Mr. Speaker, to do the same work together with this bill, from item 1, the title, the item 2, interpretation, and item 4, the functions of this bill, if you can go there up to 14, I can say is mostly administrative items. Mr. Speaker, this bill, we all know that is a product of the Protocol of Monetary Union. And specifically today, it is concerned with the Article 21 of the protocol, 21B. Mr. Speaker, under the monitoring union protocol, there are prerequisites which have been specifically mentioned in the protocol, Article 5. What Article 5 is of the protocol? What I really need to know more, that in Article 5, it is mentioned many from Article 5 of the monetary protocol, 1, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. There is something called that the following, if I call it, the purpose of realizing monetary union, the partner state shall. So this issue, partner state shall fully implement. Then they are mentioned, the custom union protocol, the common market protocol. It is mentioned about harmonizing, coordinating of the monetary exchange, and so on and so forth. Now, we have this bill, and according to the report of the committee, it has specifically mentioned that the committee observed that the function of the commission provided by the bill put more emphasis on the macro convergence criteria provided under Article 5.2, leaving out prerequisite provided by Article 5.1 and so forth, as I mentioned. So it is now confusing in one way that this bill, which today we want to pass regarding the surveillance, and the monetary bill and the statistical bill, which one had to start first? In my opinion, we are too late with this bill. This one had to start fast in order that we can realize the prerequisite which has been mentioned in Article 5. And then when we are passing this bill, then the bill could already had the work to do to find out if the things mentioned has been really fulfilled or not, to be ready for other steps. Now, because of those things which partner state has been given power, with the exception of Article 5.5, all others, the partner states are supposed to follow or to abide with those things in order to be ready for the monetary before this surveillance. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying so because it's only 2023 left, according to the time-wise. 2024 is we are supposed to have this monetary union. It is annoying, Mr. Speaker, sir, that to date, what has been mentioned in the Article 5, for example, harmonize and coordinate the fiscal policies, that's okay, it has been done, harmonize and coordinate their monetary and exchange rate policies. This has not been done at all. Mr. Speaker, 3 years ago, I was in Nairobi airport and I wanted to change South Sudan pounds. It was rejected in all exchange. Maybe it was a private, but it was rejected. I did not succeed.
Shame.
On 23rd of this month, when I passed in Nairobi airport, I wanted to change Burundian francs. I was denied in all exchange. I went to about 2-3 in airport.
Shame.
Day before yesterday here in Rwanda, I went to supermarket. I took my visa, 3 shilling visa. After buying a lot of things, it was rejected. It didn't function, I mean. But when I took my US dollar visa, then it worked. And I managed to buy all these things. My point here, I want to put, Mr. Speaker, that the prerequisite which has been stipulated in this protocol of monetary union, there are a lot of things yet has to be accomplished. And now we are coming to this surveillance, and according to this we are passing today, is only Article 5.5, 5.2, something like that, which has been stipulated. But all other prerequisites, who is to monitor? Where will be monitored? So actually time has passed and time flies, but we are lagging behind. Mr. Speaker, it will be wise if this bill will make an addition, or if it should be included, something should be included, that the Commission should also assess, monitor, and implement all mentioned in Article 5 of the Monetary Protocol with the close cooperation of the partner state, because partner state so far has failed to implement this. So it is my humble request that this should be included in this bill as a what you call it should be included in the bill, in order that partner state now, this commission we want to, this bill today should also monitor what has been rejected or what has been failed to be done by the partner state. From those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mnya. Honorable Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I also want to briefly add my voice to the voice of colleagues and welcome our new council member from Kenya to Eala. I also want to very quickly recognize and appreciate the address of His Excellency, the President of Rwanda yesterday, that we are all happy with and benefited us a lot. Mr. Speaker, I would like to draw you to page 6, 4.6, enforcement of the sanctions proposed by the bill, clause 22(2) of the bill, which empowers the summit and the recommendation of the council to impose sanctions on a partner state for failure to take collective measures, blah, 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 blah. Mr. Speaker, I want to argue that this fails at the onset. And we have seen that no sanctions, excuse me, so far have ever been taken against a partner state that has not implemented the rules, the laws of the treaty. No sanctions. And many times we have stood here and complained with a lot of frustrations as representatives of people, but nothing has been done. That can go for non-tariff barriers, that can go for non-payment of membership fees, name it. My argument, Mr. Speaker, is that as long as the treaty holds on to the principle of consensus, nothing will be effectively implemented. I keep asking myself, if I was a council member of a partner state that should actually be receiving the sanctions, why would I be party to this recommendation to the summit if I can be empowered and take advantage of the fact that decisions are taken by consensus? And once I don't, then it will fail. And if I am also a summit member, if I have that loophole, that window that empowers me to opt out of the sanctions against my own state, why don't I use that and save my country from embarrassment? So my argument is, Mr. Speaker, that as long as we hold on to the consensus means of taking decisions, we will never move forward. I would like, therefore, to make an added recommendation as recommendation number 7, I think, number 6 or 7. That we consider that the council considers to expedite or expedites the amendment of the treaty to remove consensus as a requirement of making decisions, among others, not just consensus. Of course, the treaty is due for amendment. There are so many other areas that are no longer relevant within our treaty. But this is one of the very key ones that has kept the community not moving forward, because no decision can be made without the agreement of all the parties. I want to draw your attention to 4.7 of the same page, and also show how there are contradictions. On one side, you are talking about sanctions, which I have said I would not, if I was a council member, put sanctions against my own state and be signatory to it. But we are also still recommending that the commission, the board of the commission, can only take decisions by consensus. I therefore agree with the committee that it should be a simple majority. And maybe the framers of democracy really must have studied this issue of consensus versus simple majority and realized that consensus would not work, particularly in big
Honorable Mary, so that I don't forget, I think there was a decision by the ESG on the issue of consensus. And I think there was a statement to the effect, I could be wrong, I stand to be corrected. But I think there was a statement to the effect that consensus does not mean unanimity. So CTC, you can prepare when time comes for the front bench to respond to all these suggestions, to give us a highlight of that decision. Because that means it is a jurisprudence of the court, which becomes a law. That's how, when the court interprets the treaty, then everything must follow the direction of that court decision. Are we together? Yeah, because that's the function of the regional court. When they have done an interpretation on any provision of the treaty, then the new practice must follow that direction given by the court. So we need to know exactly what did the court say on the issue of consensus. Maybe we could be debating something that is already resolved. So you may not be prepared now, but you can take time and find out that position. Honorable Mary, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that information. It really makes me happy to know that the ESC is taking measures against this issue of consensus. As you know, it has been a big concern for this House, for Eala at least. Mr. Speaker, the second thing I would like to speak on is 4.8, which is 7, page 7, which talks about the tenure of the executive secretary of the commission, and also the issue of working experience was brought up. Mr. Speaker, I would like to argue that we don't water down the years necessary for the person that is going to head this very important, heavy institution from 15 to 10. Many of us had 10 years of working experience in our early 30s, and that is a fact. To me, in my early 30s, I could do many other things, but I don't think that I was fit to head a commission of this magnitude, to be the executive of a commission of this magnitude with time, not only by age, but by experience through work. You see more, you accumulate more wisdom, you know, it's really an opportunity. And if anything, if all was to be fair, you would actually find that there are many people in their 40s, in their 50s, who are going to have better experience than someone who has acquired 10 years of working experience in her 30s. I also want to correct the information that was given by my neighbor right here, Honorable Pamela, that the ESC Monetary Union 2019 actually maintained 15 years. It was never reduced to 10 years. So if we use that as an example, and I believe that debate was on this floor, and 10 years was passed in our report and in our debate. But I think when it came to the council and so on, the 15 years were maintained, and for a good reason. So I would recommend that we maintain the 15 years. I end here, Mr. Speaker, and thank the committee for a good job, well done, and a good report. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mary. Yeah, so I really want to say that the new minister had informed me earlier that she wanted to catch a flight back to Nairobi, and we understand her situation. She just rushed here to be sworn in. We can't retain her longer. But in the future, we believe she will come here ready to stay. Yes. Now, let me be advised. We have Secretary General and CTC. Do they represent the council?
Oh.
So we can't debate a council bill in the absence of the council.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you see, members are here. We can't hang on the new minister who rushed here to be sworn in and say you can't leave when she wasn't prepared to stay here for a week. So it pains me that really we are in a situation where we are wasting time. But again, these are procedures, these are issues that we should handle procedurally according to the law. We can't debate a council bill in the absence of the council.
Procedure, Mr. Speaker.
Please don't interrupt me. Yes. So SG, most likely, I'm going to extend this plenary. It is very likely. Yes. We will finish what we set out to finish. And we hope the council, I'm not saying I will do, but it is most likely, the council will cooperate on this if it becomes necessary. If it becomes necessary. Or is there a contrary advice, legally speaking, citizens, can we sit without ministers? I'm ready to be advised. Dr. Makame, are you want to advise me instead of raising an issue of procedure against
Mr. Speaker?
By the way, let me advise. When the speaker is speaking, you don't raise the point of procedure. You can raise it when it's a fellow member on the floor. But I stand to be advised. Can you advise me whether we can sit without ministers?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, procedurally, it would not be right for us to address the matter of a bill from the council and we talk to ourselves. Actually, even our reports, because when we are reading out our reports, we'd like the council to take note, and there are some recommendations from the council to go and implement. Mr. Speaker, this is something which is very sad. It's a very sad day for this.
But you see, most speakers find themselves in this predicament, even in partner states. Yes, I have seen speakers complain, where are the ministers? What is happening? So, SG, do you think, is there any way we can rescue this way? Can we proceed?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I am in touch, and I'm aware, Speaker, the matter on the floor is very important. It's a matter that has been addressed by a member of the summit. It's a matter that I think this assembly should address adequately. I'm in touch with the council members, and I've requested them, of course, they have to be represented here. The chair of the council requested that the member from Rwanda should hold forth. I'm in touch with him, and he told me that he's attending to something that is very urgent. He will be joining. So I'm assuming that he will be joining, not that he's absent, but he said he will be joining. Our time he will be joining is what I don't know, Speaker. I agree with you, and I was consulting with the CTC. Indeed, we don't have a representation of the council in this. And therefore, I think that I leave to you.
Yeah,
Right,
so my understanding of how this house is constituted is that the Secretary General and CTC are not council members. You are not council members. You are here in your own way, by virtue of your own positions. And when we don't have the council, even if we may have quorum in terms of numbers, but there are certain matters we cannot transact. Because then who is going to take responsibility for whatever we are saying or we are recommending? This is not an ordinary meeting where someone would come and they get briefed on what has been going on. Well, it's not some kind of a wedding meeting where you can come late and they tell you we have been discussing this. So this is the assembly, which must be properly constituted all the time. And as I said, it's not something that it's a painful situation, but indeed, yes, maybe there is a reason why ministers are not here, and they could be genuine reasons. They could be genuine reasons, but also it is a genuine reason for us to wait for them. Yes, we can't blame any of them because we haven't even heard them, but we can't proceed without them because this is their beer. This is their bill. So of course, I will find a way to make sure that these bills that we planned to finish, we'll finish them, even if I will have to prioritize them over other reports. But we have to deal with the bills first and foremost. So we will proceed tomorrow morning at 10. Do we start at 10? At 10, tomorrow at 10. So I adjourn the house until tomorrow.